no? Or 3 or more, kahit na 100 pa yon, no? Basta dalawa, t-test, yung ANOVA, next week natin i-discuss yun. Pero pag 3 or more dataset, ANOVA na, no? They are just the same, no? Pareho lang po sila ng idea. But in t-test, ang requirement, 2 and only 2 sets of data ang kailangan natin. Now, ang kino-compare in t-test, this is very important, ang kino-compare sa t-test ay mean, no? No other descriptive statistics kundi mean. Ngayon, kaya importante na mag-conduct muna tayo ng descriptive statistics before proceeding to the inferential statistics, no? Hindi tayo makakapag-conduct ng inferential kung wala tayong descriptive stats. Fundamental po yun, fundamental idea yon in statistics, no? Kasi ang ginagamit in t-test is mean. How will you compare the mean if you don't have the descriptive statistics? So maliwanag po tayo doon, no? If we are going to compare 2 and only 2 sets of data, t-test po. And there are many different situation to unpack here. So tignan muna natin, no? Alam natin na may one sample. Ang one sample, one set of data. And then meron tayong hypothesize or population data. Di ba? Tapos sa independent, meron kang 2 groups and then mini-measure mo each one. So, 2 groups, mineasure mo each, meron kang dalawang set of data. And then sa paired sample or sa the dependent sample t-test, meron kang 1 group, may measure mo sila twice. So, meron kang first set of data, meron kang second set of data, pero nanggaling lang siya sa isang sample. Pero ang bottom line is, meron kang 2 sets of data. Maliwanag po tayo doon. Now, later on, dadaanan pa naman natin siya. So, i-compare natin to test the differences between the means. Ngayon, ito yung medyo challenging na ideas, no? Pag sinabi mong t-statistics, ito yung tinatawag na critical value in t-test. Ngayon, para mas maintindihan natin yung t-statistics, tinitingnan dito how large the difference between the 2 sets of mean or 2 sample mean. May dalawa kasi tayong way of rejecting the null hypothesis, no? Yung una, the most familiar is the p-value technique. So yung dinidiscuss natin previously, di ba? P-value technique po ang tawag doon. Meron naman tayong tinatawag na critical value technique. So, di ba, going back, ang p-value technique talks about if the p-value is less than the alpha level, mas maliit daw yung p-value sa alpha level mo, ibig sabihin, reject the null hypothesis. So, kapag mas maliit, reject the null hypothesis. Pag mas malaki, fail to reject the null hypothesis. Maliwanag po tayo doon. Are we clear? Bigyan nyo nga ako ng emoji dyan para alam ko may kausap ako. Okay. So, yun yung p-value technique, no? Pagdating naman sa critical value technique, yan, yung t-statistics is an example of the critical value. Ang ibig sabihin naman po niyan is that kapag ang critical value mo ay lumagpas sa critical level na tinatawag, reject the null hypothesis. Pero kapag hindi siya lumagpas, parang hindi niya na-hit. Kunyari, ito yung critical value mo, ay critical level mo, ito yung critical value mo. Lumagpas siya, na-hit niya, no? Tumaas, mas taas siya. Ibig sabihin, reject the null. Pero kapag hindi siya mas mataas, hindi niya na-hit yung critical level, fail to reject the null. So dapat, in critical value technique, mas mataas naman siya, hindi siya mas mababa. Kabaliktaran po siya, opposite po yun ha, sa p-value technique. In p-value technique, dapat mas maliit yung p-value mo sa alpha level for you to reject the null. In critical value technique, dapat mas mataas ang critical value mo sa critical level for you to reject the null. So, are we clear on that muna? No, doon muna tayo sa ideas na yon. Maliwanag po sa dalawang way of rejecting the null. Isang
Sir,
p-value.
may clarifications lang po ako about sa t-value po ba yun? Kapag malaki po yung t-value, tama po ba, we are going to fail to reject the null hypothesis?
In t-statistics, in the critical value technique, kapag mas malaki yung critical value sa critical, this is your critical level, no? This is the level that you set. Kapag mas mataas siya sa critical level, yung value na nakuha mo, reject the null. No? Pero kapag mas mababa, you fail to reject the null. So, kabaliktaran siya ng idea ng p-value technique. In p-value kasi, kapag mas maliit, yun yung mas gusto mo. pag in critical value, gusto mo mag-exceed sa level na sinet mo. Later on, I will explain the idea of the critical value. Kasi typically, hindi siya gaano ginagamit eh. Most of the time, we are familiar with the critical with the p-value technique, no? Pero itong critical value technique, hindi tayo familiar with this idea. And most researchers, hindi siya gaano familiar kasi hindi siya gaano ginagamit. Pero titas to, importante pong i-discuss ito dito, no? So for now, yun muna yung tingnan natin. The-download ko lang pala yung yung T, dito kasi ginagamit mga anak yung T-table, no? Kung narinig niyo na siya and I hope narinig niyo na siya, dito niyo siya ginagamit. So, ipapakita ko lang sa inyo yung paggamit ng T-table para makita natin yung computation or paano natin nire-reject yung null hypothesis when using critical value technique. Wait lang. So, proceed muna tayo, no? Kasi maraming kailangang i-discuss when using critical value technique or the critical value technique, yung pag-reject ng null hypothesis, no? Once the value is larger to your critical level, then reject the null hypothesis. Pero kapag hindi niya na-hit yung level mo, fail to reject the null hypothesis tayo. Iba po ito sa p-value technique ha. Dinidiscuss ko lang kasi t-statistics solely most primarily rely on this technique. Pero binibigay din naman yung p-value sa computation, no? Now, sabi dito, how to interpret the t-statistics. Ginagamitan natin siya ng tinatawag na level of significance, which is the alpha, familiar naman tayo doon, and the degree of freedom. And then may table tayong titignan kung saan titignan natin doon yung critical level. Ang level ang tinitignan natin doon, yung criteria, kung hanggang saan dapat mag-hit. Tapos i-compare mo yung nakuha mong value on that. No? So, papakita ko lang sa inyo kung paano siya ginagamit. Sabi dito, in t-statistics, if the absolute value of the t is large or larger than the level, it suggests that differences between the means is not likely to have occurred. If larger, reject the null. No? Yun lang yung sinasabi dyan. If smaller, fail to reject the null. So, saan po natin nakikita yung level or criteria for rejection? Dun po sa table, no? Papakita ko sa inyo later on. Pero discuss muna natin yung mga ideas that comes with it. So, may tinatawag tayo, no? So, yung una, t-statistics. Sabi daw, for you to get the level or level of significance sa t-statistics, kailangan mo ng dalawang value. Isang degree of freedom, isang alpha level. So, yung alpha level, maliwanag na discuss na natin yan previously, no? So, in social science, ang alpha level natin is 0.05, di ba? With 95% confidence level. So yun yung sa social science, 0.05. In medicine, 0.01 and sometimes in research, 0.09. Pero most of the time, makikita natin yung 0.05, ay 0.09, 0.1 in research, no? 0.05 in social science. Now, let's go on ngayon dito sa degree of freedom. Ang idea lang naman ng degree of freedom, for example, meron kang 10 values, no? Let's visualize this. Hirap magturo ng stats ng walang board. So let's visualize this, no? Meron kang 10 data. Tapos kukunin mo yung mean niya, no? Imimin mo siya lahat. 'Di ba? Paano natin minimin yung 10 data? Add mo siya and then divide mo siya sa 10. Tama ba?
Yes.
Ganun siya, 'di ba?
Opo.
Okay, ganun siya. So, pag ginawa natin yan, makukuha natin yung mean. Ngayon, in degree of freedom, ang sinasabi niya lang dito, how many of these values ang kailangan ko para makuha ko yung exact mean na nakuha mo rin kapag dinivide mo siya sa 10. So, in abstract thinking, medyo mahirap siyang intindihin, no? For example, ang mean natin dito ay 22. No, kunyari ang naging mean mo ay 22, no? Inad mo silang lahat, dinivide mo, ang nakuha mong mean 22. Ngayon sa degree of freedom, how many of these values ang kailangan ko lang para makuha ko rin yung same number of mean, which is 22. So sabi niya, sa in degree of freedom, when we talk about degree of freedom, most of the time sinasabi lang dito that I don't need the 10th or the final value for me to get the same exact mean. So, sabi niya, hindi ko na kahit na hindi ko na isama sa computation yung pang-10 value, I can still get the mean of 22. Ikaw kasi kinompute mo 10, di ba? Ako kahit 9 lang dyan ang kailangan ko, makukuha ko pa rin yung mean of 22. Yun yung fundamental idea natin in statistics, no? Most of the time, hindi mo na kinukuha yung final value kasi you'll just get the same exact descriptive statistics. Naiintindihan ba?
Yeah.
Thumbs up nga tayo kung naiintindihan sa emoji
Opo,
or hindi.
sir.
Okay, sige. So, isa pa, in degree of freedom, for example, I have 10. Ang degree of freedom niya ngayon ay 9. So, ibig sabihin, I only need 9 of those data for me to get the same value. Naiintindihan? Are we clear on that?
Sir, parang
Okay.
ganito po ba yung idea behind the degree of freedom? Parang hindi na sinasama yung final value kasi madali naman natin makukonclude yung mean without concluding the final including the final value. Ganun po ba?
Ganun siya. So parang sinasabi niya dito, parang nagiging irrelevant yung panghuling value kasi you'll just get the same value. Para siyang ganun, no? So the degree, pero pag kunyari 8, no? May mga makikita kayong tawag dito, degree of freedom na minsan yung huling 2, minsan yung huling 3, minsan yung huling 4. Depende po yan sa number of groups. For example, in one sample t-test, meron kang isang group lang doon, di ba? So, ang degree of freedom nun, -1 lang. So, sabi niya, makukuha ko rin yung same value. Kunyari, 10 yung member nun. So, yung degree of freedom nun, isa lang yung group mo, -1 lang siya. So, sa independent sample t-test, since meron tayong 2 group, kung meron siyang 30 o 15 kada group, so meron kang 30 na sample, di ba? 15 sa unang group, 15 sa pangalawang group. 2 yung group mo, so yung degree of freedom niya -2. So, ganun po nagwo-work yung degree of freedom. Makikita natin yan later on sa computation ng Jamovi kasi mahirap ipakita ngayon yan in online, no? Wala akong pansulat. Pero nakadepende po yung degree of freedom. How many of values becomes irrelevant, depende po yan sa number of groups na meron ka. In one sample and in paired, meron ka lang isang group. So makikita mo ang degree of freedom -1 lang. Pero in independent sample t-test, since 2 group mo, ang degree of freedom mo -2. Saan po mina-minus? Sa n. Na. So kunyari ang n mo 10, may isa kang group, so ang degree of freedom mo ay 9. So how many of these values ang kailangan ko for me to get the exact same result? Naintindihan? Okay, so let's move forward, no? Ang dami kong nakabukas na tab. Wait lang po, ayan. Ngayon, papakita ko sa inyo muna yung using t-table. So ito po ngayon ang ating t-table na tinatawag. Ngayon makikita nyo, hala, ang daming tinitignan. Ganyan talaga sa stats, no? Makikita nyo in t-table, meron tayong tinatawag ditong one-tail, which is we know, and two-tailed. Two-tailed test. So dito importante kung one-tailed ba ang ginagawa mo o two-tailed, ha? Ngayon, dito po sa taas, this is the alpha level. For example, two-tailed. Two-tailed test. Tapos ang alpha level mo ay 0.05. So ito yon, di ba? Diyan ka titingin. Ngayon, dito po sa baba, ito po yung degree of freedom. Ayan. Dito po yan, no? So kung for example, meron kang 30. Sabihin muna tayo para makita nyo lahat. Kunyari, meron kang degree of freedom na 9. Kasi kao, meron kang n na 10. So isa lang yung group mo sa one sample. So, 9 lang ang degree of freedom mo. Kasi isa lang yung group. So, -1 mo lang siya, no? 9 values. I only did the first 9 values for me to get the exact same results. Ngayon, titignan nyo lang saan siya magtatama. So, ayan. Okay? Dito yung 0.05. Ito yung 9 na degree of freedom. So, ang value natin is 2. Pwede ba itong i-highlight? Ayan. 2.262. If the t-statistics is larger than this value, then we reject the null. Okay? If the t-statistics na i-compute natin later on ay lower than this value, then we fail to reject the null. Naintindihan po ang t-statistics kung paano siya ginagamit. Yung t-statistics, kinocompute po natin yun. No? Ngayon, saan natin siya ikinocompare dito sa value sa t-table? Using the alpha level and the degree of freedom. O for example, meron ka namang meron kang sample na 16. Meron kang isang group. So ang degree of freedom mo would be 15, right? Dito. Okay. Tapos meron kang alpha level na 5. So dito siya, 2.131. This is going to be your level of significance, no? Critical level, I mean. Kapag mas mataas diyan yung t-statistics na na-compute mo, reject the null. Pag mas mababa dyan, you fail to reject the null. So this is how you compute or use the t-table, no? Ngayon, what's the problem with using t-table? So, tingin nyo. Una po, sir, mahirap po. Sir, paano po pag yung sample namin 1,000? Yun lang, no? Kaya, hindi siya gaanong ginagamit. Kasi most of the time, ang t-table, makikita nyo, ayan lang. Pagkayari ng 30, 40, 60, 80, 100, 1,000. Eh sir, paano kung sample ko 254? Saan ko titignan yan dyan? Kukomputin mo po yun manually, no? So, tedious on the researcher's part. Kaya, most of the time, ang ginagamit ang p-value. Pero it's nice to know din kailan ginagamit yung critical value technique, no? Especially in t-test. So, ito po ang ating t-table. Naintindihan naman po ang paggamit. Another example, kunyari medicine, no? 0.01 ang alpha level nila, two-tailed. So, kunyari, meron silang sample, vaccination, 30. Ito 30 yung sample nila. Eh ngayon, meron silang dalawang group. So, minus 2 yung 30. Magiging 28 yung degree of freedom nila. So, this is 28. And this is, tingnan nyo gano'n siya kahirap. This is 0.01 na column. O ngayon, ang critical level nila is 2.763. Ayan. Para lang siyang paggamit dati ng z-table, no? Ganun lang din siya, pero hinahanap nyo dito sa gilid yung degree of freedom na mag-a-appear sa computation nyo, and then dito yung alpha level na sinet nyo. Okay? Maliwanag po tayo doon. Are we clear on that po? Ano naman? Pasensya na, ang dami kong nakabukas na tab. Anyway, so let's go back to our discussion. Ayan, sabi dito, if the absolute value of the t-value is larger than the critical value, absolute value is the computed t-statistics, okay? If the absolute value is higher than the critical value, then you reject the null hypothesis. If the computation is smaller, if the absolute value is smaller than the critical value, then you fail to reject the null hypothesis. Maintindihan po? Are we clear? Okay, let's move forward. So, diniscuss ko lang siya kasi tawag dito, hindi naman siya madalas ginagamit. So, magre-rely pa rin tayo most of the time sa p-value. Kasi yun yung applicable in all inferential statistics. Sa iba kasi wala ng t-statistics. No? In t-test mo lang kasi makikita yon, no? Kaya diniscuss ko siya dito. Yung ibang tests, merong sariling table for that. So, medyo mahirap siya, no? Kaya, let's rely on the universal idea ng p-value. Pero, it's nice to know then yung critical value technique. So, we have two techniques, ha? Ngayon, another idea na makikita natin sa computation natin later on is the effect size. Ngayon, ang effect size, kinocompute siya, how much, gaano kalaki, ang sinasabi lang naman sa effect size, gaano kalaki ang effect ng IV mo sa DV mo. Madali naman siya intindihin, no? So, kung for example, tinetest mo yung difference in gender sa emotional regulation, no? Tapos nakita mo doon na mas mataas ang emotional regulation ng female compared to male. Ngayon, makikita mo how large yung effect ng gender sa emotional regulation. Is it small? Is it moderate? Is it large? No. Meron po siyang mga interpretation. Importante kasi ito, baka minsan kasi may mga computation tayo na lumalabas wherein lumalabas naman siya na significant, no? You reject the null hypothesis. Significant, no? However, pagdating sa effect size, makikita mo ang liit lang pala ng effect nung IV mo sa DV mo. Kunyari, yung gender nga sa emotional regulation. Yes, there are differences between male and female, pero gaano ba nakakaapekto yung gender sa emotional regulation? Minsan maliit lang, minsan negligible pa nga, no? So, ang effect size tinatawag rin po siyang practical significance, no? Yung computation natin tinatawag siyang statistical significance. Yes, it can be statistically significant, but if you look at the effect size, baka mamaya wala siyang practical significance. Kasi maliit lang pala yung effect, no? Hindi naman pala ganun kalaki yung naidudulot na pagbabago ng IV mo sa DV mo. Are we clear? Naiintindihan po yung idea ng effect size natin? Okay. Minsan kasi wala naman palang effect, no? So ikaw, sasabihin mo sa report mo, different, no? Kahit naman pala yung effect nun, maliit lang. So it is also important to report in your research yung effect size ng ginagawa nyo. Gaano ba kalaki yung effect ng ginawa mo to your DV? Yung IV to your DV, di ba? Yun naman yung idea natin sa IV-DV. Sino ang naaapektuhan? Sino ang nakakaapekto? Naintindihan? So, gaano kalaki yung epekto? Yun yung tanong dito sa effect size. Minsan maliit lang, minsan sobrang laki, minsan okay lang. No, sakto lang. So, may mga interpretation po siya. Sabi dito, a large effect size means that a research finding has practical significance. So, pag sinabi kasing practical significance, yun yung tawag dito, gaano mo siya ka-relevant gamitin in real world. Yes, in computation, maganda siya. Pero pag in-apply mo ba siya in real life, makikita mo yung pagbabago? Malaki ba yung magiging effect? Yun yung tinatawag na practical significance. Is it practical to do it? Kasi minsan, maliit lang naman pala yung effect. Is it practical to do it? Minsan tinatanong na other researchers, no? Sinabi mo effective yung new treatment sa pagbaba ng anxiety level ng mga patient or ng clients. Ngayon, nakita na yung effect size maliit lang pala. Ngayon, papatanong kasi yung researcher, is it worth it to simulate the same exact therapy or treatment kung ganun lang kaliit yung effect size niya? No, probably hindi. It's a waste of resources. Kaya tinatawag din siyang practical significance. Kasi dito makikita yung effect niya pag in-apply mo na siya in real world. Or gaano ba kalaki yung effect ng IV sa DV. Okay? Ngayon, may different interpretations ng effect size. Meron tayong tinatawag na Cohen's D, which is most of the time, makikita nyo to in parametric t-test. Meron din tayong tinatawag na rank by serial correlation or R and then subscript na B. Ibig sabihin, rank by serial yan. Correlation. Ngayon, in Cohen's D, titingnan mo lang yung value niya. So, if it's less than, if the value of the effect size is less than 0.20, very small ang effect size niya. Minsan negligible pa nga, kinoconsider ng ibang researchers yan. This is according to Cohen, ha? Ngayon, when the value of the Cohen's D fall between 0.2 and 0.5, small effect size. Kapag 0.5 to 0.80, moderate or medium effect size, and greater than 0.80, large ang effect size niya. So, makakita kayo minsan ng effect size na 1.01. Kunyari, 1.01. Greater than 0.80 na yon, so large na yung effect size niya. The same lang po dito kapag negative counterpart. Kunyari, lumabas, negative 0.20, the same. Very small effect size pa rin yun, no? Kasi mamaya magkakaroon ng computation and nagbabago yung sign depende sa input na ginagawa natin in Jamovi. Pero the same lang po, positive or negative, the same lang po ang interpretation niya, no? Ngayon, sa ano naman sa rank by serial, effect size din po ito, no? Pero ito naman po ang kanyang indicator. As we can see, 0.199 to 0, very small. 0.20 kasi 0.199 after that 0.20, no? To 0.39, small effect size or small practical significance. Pag 0.40 to 0.59, moderate, no? So titingnan nyo saan siya magfo-fall yung value dito and then you'll just interpret anong klaseng effect size ang meron ang data ko. Okay? This is Cohen's D. Most of the time makikita to sa parametric test. Rank by serial correlation, nakikita po ito sa non-parametric counterparts ng mga test. Maliwanag po tayo dito. Titignan nyo lang naman dito kung saan magfo-fall yung effect size and then you'll just interpret. No? Gaano kalaki yung effect ng IV sa DV? Okay. Tignan nga natin yung, nandiyan pa ba kayo?
Yes, nandito pa kami ni Stella, sir.
Baka kasi walang nagsasalita. Ay, hindi kasi naka-open kami yung iba, so I don't know kung nandiyan pa kayo or wala na. No? This is the challenge in online class. Though, inuwi ko naman to kasi I'm prepared. No? So mamaya, pag nandyan pa kayo, nakikinig kayo, I will call someone for recitation purposes. No? And then yung attendance monitored naman kasi nakikita naman dito yung attendance. Kung sino, kung kailan ka nag-out, kailan ka nag-in. No? Anyway. So, maliwanag na po tayo doon, no? Meron na tayong t-statistics, meron na tayong degree of freedom, meron na tayong effect size. Tama na, Charis. So, meron naman tayo lastly yata, mean difference, no? Sa mean difference, from the word itself, how different their mean are, no? Ano yung difference ng mean? Ma-minus mo lang yun, no? Most of the time, mina-minus, ay hindi, most of the time, talagang mina-minus lang siya. So, balik tayo sa subtraction, ha? Tingnan natin para makita. So sa mean difference, pag minus mo yung mean ng isa sa isa, yun yung mean difference. Ay, intindihan? Madali lang siyang intindihan. So, subtract mo lang. Ngayon, balik tayo sa subtraction. Okay, tingnan nga natin. What do you call the value sa subtraction na nauuna? Doon mina-minus yung pangalawang value. Anong tawag doon sa unang value na yun? Diba? Sino nagsusubtract ka? Blank minus blank equals, yung unang blank, anong tawag doon? Yung pinagmaminusan mo. Saan natin mina-minus? Kunyari, meron kang pera, 50. Bumili ka ng 25 pesos na ulam. Anong tawag doon sa 50? Pera po. Anong tawag doon sa 50?
Subtrahend po ba?
Subtrahend yung pangalawa. Okay. So, anong tawag doon sa una?
Minuend po.
Minuend. Okay, sige. Minuend and subtrahend. Okay, parehong idea ng subtraction. Wow, ang gagaling ha. And then the answer is called difference. Di ba natatandaan? Doon kasi nanggaling yon yung difference na idea. So, yung difference, yung sagot ng subtraction. Okay? Ngayon, positive mean difference. If positive, kailan nagiging positive ang value natin sa subtraction? Kapag mas malaki ang minuend sa subtrahend. Naiintindihan? Kasi hindi naman siya mag-negative, hindi ka magkakautang, kumbaga. Kasi malaki yung pambayad mo eh. May sukli ka pa, may positive pa, no? May positive value pa. Pero nagiging negative siya wherein kapag yung subtrahend is larger than the minuend, magiging negative value po ang results natin. Okay? Now, application in statistics, kailan nagiging positive ang MD? Ibig sabihin po nito, nagiging positive ang MD kapag mas malaki ang unang data sa pangalawang data. Naiintindihan niyo po yon? Si unang data, mas malaki kay pangalawang data. O, yung taas na baba na lang kasi hindi ko alam yung kaliwat kanan. Ito si minuend, ito si subtrahend. Imagine si minuend is the first set of data that you have. Si subtrahend is the second set of data that you have. For example, yan, minus mo. Minuend, subtrahend, minus. Positive ang results. Ibig sabihin, mas malaki to compared kay subtrahend. Are we getting the point here?
Opo.
Okay. Now, kung ganun, kung mas malaki to kaysa dito, ibig sabihin, nag-increase o nag-decrease between the sets of data. Sige nga, mas malaki to kung dito. Ito yung first set of data mo, ito yung second set of data mo. Tapos, ang naging sagot positive. So, ibig sabihin, mas malaki to.
Nag-increase po.
Kesa dito, no? So, ibig sabihin, para na ako dito, phantom mime. Puro ganun si sir. Okay. Mas positive ang naging results. Ibig sabihin, mas malaki yung first value mo sa second value. Ibig sabihin, nag-decline. Nag-decline ang ating value. Ibig sabihin, nag-decrease ang ating value. No? Kasi mas malaki yung una kaysa sa pangalawa. Naging positive yung results ko. Kasi nung minus ko sila, positive ang results. Are we clear? Pero naman pag negative, ibig sabihin, mas malaki si minuend kay subtrahend. Hindi. Mas malaki si subtrahend kay minuend. Yung first set of data mo, maliit, mas malaki ang second set of data mo. Nung minus mo sila, since nasa taas si minuend, yung first set of data mo, minus mo yung mas malaking subtrahend, magiging negative ang sagot mo. Diba tama naman? Kapag minus mo yung mas malaking value doon sa original value, nagiging negative yung sagot. Yung pangalawang value, minus mo sa unang value, wherein yung pangalawang value mas mataas, nagiging negative ang t-statistics natin. Are we clear? Naintindihan po? Ngayon, ganun lang naman yung interpretation ng positive and negative mean difference. If positive ang MD mo, ibig sabihin mas malaki si first value kaysa kay second value. If negative ang mean difference mo, mas malaki si second value kaysa kay first value. Kasi nung minus yung second value kay first, negative, kulang pa. No? Ibig sabihin, mas malaki si second value compared kay first value. Are we clear on that? Thumbs up nga tayo. Okay. Okay na yon. Nahirap ituro ng stats. Very challenging for me. Kasi wala akong panulat. Although, sir, ba't di ka mag-annotate?
Sir, wait lang po.
Sige, what's your question?
At sir, short-term memory loss lang kasi kapag sinabi po bang positive mean difference, ibig sabihin nag-decline po yung anong tawag doon?
Yung value.
Apo. Tapos kapag negative naman, ibig sabihin is nag-increase naman po yung value. Ganun po ba? It's like vice versa lang.
Pero siyang vice versa. If positive ang mean difference, ibig sabihin nag-decline. Kasi mas malaki yung unang value mo kaysa kay second value. So, looking at the values, lumiit, 'di ba?
Okay po.
Pero pag sinabi mong negative ang mean difference, lumaki ngayon ang second value mo compared kay first value. So, tumaas, nagkaroon ng increase in the value of the mean. Are we clear? Kaya negative ang magiging mean difference. So, kapag positive ang results, nag-decline. Kapag negative ang results, nag-increase. Ganyan talaga in stats. Pag mas malaki, reject po, sir. Pag mas maliit, o di ba nakakalito, laging most of the time baliktad. Kasi, fundamental mathematical operations naman po itong mga to, no? Pag positive ang results natin sa subtraction, mas malaki si first kaysa kay second. Pero pag negative ang sagot natin sa subtraction, mas malaki si second kaysa kay first. Kung mas malaki si second kaysa kay first, edi nakita natin yung increase in mean. Tumaas, no? Ang mean. Kasi lumaki yung second. Naiintindihan ba ang idea?
Yes.
Or hindi? Naiintindihan yan. I hope naintindihan. Ha? Okay. Nararamdaman ko na yung init ng panahon. So, let's move on to test of normality. So, effect size, mean difference, t-statistics, test of normality. Ang dami, di ba? Ang daming idea. Pero test of normality, alam niyo na to, no? Shapiro and then Kolmogorov, Smirnov. So, move forward lang tayo dito. Move on tayo. So, this is the hypothesis of test of normality. This is very important, ha? Kasi yung susunod na idea dito is similar to this, no? Yung homogeneity, kapareho lang po dito yan. Ngayon, in null hypothesis ng test of normality, sinasabi dito that there is no significant difference between the normal distribution and the sample distribution. If there is no significant difference between normal distribution and sample distribution, it means that they are equal. Kasi wala kamong difference. And then they are equal. Diba? O baliktad na naman, sir. Hindi, ganun lang yon. Grammar test lang po ito, no? There is no significant difference. It means that they are equal. So, your null hypothesis is that your data is normally distributed. Your alternative hypothesis is that your data is not normally distributed. Okay? There is a significant difference. Ang alternative, there is a significant difference between the normal distribution and sample distribution. It means that your the normal distribution hypothesis is not similar to your sample distribution. So kung hindi sila similar, then your sample distribution is not normally distributed. 'Di ba? Are we clear here? Sana maliwanag tayo dito kasi discuss ko naman nato ng face-to-face. Good tayo dito sa hypothesis ng normality test. Kapag
Yes po.
ang null is normal, ang sample distribution, ang alternative
Normal.
is not normal, no? Kapag ang p-value mo, tingnan nga natin, kapag ang p-value mo, wait lang, gawa tayong poll dito. Meron dito eh. Ay hindi, wag na. Magsasayang lang ako ng oras, no? Taas na lang ng kamay. Hindi. Kapag ang p-value ay less than 0.05. Is it normal or not normal? Thumbs up sa normal, thumbs down sa not normal. Less than 0.05. Normal or not normal? Pakita,
Not
yung mga
normal.
kamay, pati tinitingnan ko
Not
dito.
normal.
Normal or not normal? Okay. So, meron pa rin mga naguguluhan, no? Less than, ibig sabihin, less than 0.05. Mas maliit siya sa alpha level mo. Anong ginagawa natin pag mas maliit sa alpha level? P-value to. Reject the null. Diba? Tama ba ako? Kapag mas maliit sa p-value, reject the null. So, if you will reject this HO, and then, what is true is the opposite. Yung alternative. So, if the data is less than if the p-value of the normality test is less than 0.05, then you reject the null hypothesis. Ganun pa rin, no? Yung idea ng rejection tsaka fail to reject, ganun pa rin. However, in the interpretation, doon tayo kayo nagkakagulo, which I believe. If you will reject the null hypothesis, then what is true is the alternative. So, what is alternative? Not normal. So, dapat thumbs down. Kasi, mas mababa sa 0.05. Okay? Now, if the p-value is greater than the alpha level, which is 0.05, kunyari, nakuha mo, p-value of 0.981. Taas nun, di ba? Mas mataas yung sa 0.05. So, your data is what? Normally distributed or not normally distributed? Balik muna kasi kayo sa rejection muna. Doon muna kasi kayo, wag muna sa interpretation. Okay, mas malaki siya sa 0.05. Failed to reject the null. So if I fail to reject the null, then I accept the null. Totoo ang null, no? What is null? The data is the normal distribution is not significantly different from my sample distribution. In other words, my data is normally distributed. Ganun po, para hindi kayo malito, no? Ang susunod yung interpret muna, am I going to reject or fail to reject?
Yes.
Then, what is the interpretation? Yun muna kasi, wag muna kayo sa interpretation automatic para hindi kayo nalilito. No? Okay. Now, your alpha level is 0.05. The p-value that you got is 0.5. What is going to be your interpretation? Fail to reject or reject? Fail to reject, thumbs down para tayo nag-aano dito. Online shopping. Reject, thumbs up, no? If your p-value, computed p-value is 0.5, your alpha level is 0.05. What is your interpretation? Okay, mas mababa ay mas mataas. 0.5 kasi ang nakuha ko, sir. 0.05 lang ang alpha level ko. So, fail to reject the null. If I fail to reject the null, fail to reject the null, normally distributed or not?
Normally yun, eh.
Okay. Normally distributed.
Normally.
Okay. So, maliwanag tayo doon. So, I hope naliwanagan naman na kasi dinidiscuss na natin to dati pa. Ngayon, meron tayong tinatawag na test of homogeneity. Just like what I've mentioned previously, this is just the same of test of normality. Okay. May tinatawag tayong homogeneous data. Ang homogeneous data, data means that homogeneous data, it means that the variances of two or more samples are equal. Ibig sabihin, yung dispersion of score sa unang set of data mo versus sa pangalawang set of data mo, yung dispersion of score sa pangalawa, they're just the same. Okay? Tinatawag siyang homogeneous data. Kapag magkaiba ang dispersion of score ng dalawang set of data mo, for example, mas sabog ang una mong set of data kaysa sa pangalawa, it means that the data are heterogeneous in nature kasi they don't have the same variance. Okay? Ano ba ang variance? Measure of variability, dispersion of scores. Square root of the variance is the standard deviation. Just think of it na how dispersed my scores are. Gaano kasabog? Pareho ba silang sabog? Magkasing sabog ba sila? Homogeneous yun. Pero kapag hindi, mas maliit, mas makitid, for example, yung una mong data, mas makitid ang scores. Yung pangalawa mo mas kalat. So, mas mataas yung variances or variability ng pangalawang set of data mo. So it means that the two data are heterogeneous in nature. Naiintindihan po ang homogeneous and heterogeneous data. Again, homogeneous, pareho sila ng variance. Variance is yung kinakompute natin dati, variance and standard deviation. Kasi square root mo lang yun, no? Para hindi na lang din kayo malito. Pareho sila ng SD. Or they almost have the same SD. Okay? Hindi naman totally equal, but almost the same. Pag heterogeneous, magkaiba ang SD nila or the variance. No, alin lang naman kasi ang variance lang ang SD naman, square root of the variance lang din 'yon. Okay? So, variances and standard deviations are measures of variability. Gaano kasabog ang scores natin? Pag pareho ang pagkakasabog nila, homogeneous. Pero kapag yung isa makitid, yung isa sabog, heterogeneous ang data natin. Okay. Ngayon, tingnan natin ang hypothesis ng Levene's test. Ang Levene's test of homogeneity po ito, no? Si variance 1 ay equal kay variance 2. The same lang po nung test of normality natin dun sa nauna. Alternative, si variance 1 is not equal to variance 2. So balik muna tayo kay null hypothesis. Si variance 1 ay equal kay variance 2. Ibig sabihin, yung variance ng first sample mo is the same as sa variance ng second sample mo. If they're just the same, then walang significant difference. There is no significant difference between the variances of the two samples or two or more. Kasi later on sa ANOVA, di ba, 3 or more siya. So, ang null hypothesis natin, walang significant difference ang variance. Ibig sabihin, the variance are equal. So, pag variance ay equal, the data is what?
Homogeneous.
If the variances, homogeneous. Kapag ang variances ay equal, the data are homogeneous. Pero kapag ang variances ay magkaiba, ibig sabihin, they are not equal. So, there is a significant difference, no? Between the two variants. Magkaiba, they are not equal. Ibig sabihin, your data is heterogeneous in nature. Naiintindihan po? Okay. So, kapareho lang po siya nung test of normality natin. Question?
Sir, konting tanong. Ano po, yung kasi parang may napansin lang ako, no. Kapag homogeneous, parang no significance. So parang yung homogeneous at heterogeneous, parang same lang siya ng concept ng reject the null and fail to reject the null. Tama po ba?
Balikan natin tong para hindi kayo maguluhan, no? Balikan natin tong test of normality. Okay. Sa test of normality, ang hypothesis niya, si normal distribution, the same kay sample distribution. Ngayon, on the other hand, kay variance or Levene's test, si variance 1 is equal kay variance 2. Ibig sabihin, yung dispersion of score sa unang set of sample mo is the same sa dispersion of score sa second set of sample mo. So, in other words, dun sa dalawa na yon, sinasabi na walang significant difference yung una sa pangalawa. In test of normality, as we can see, walang significant difference si normal distribution kay sample distribution. Okay. Yan, nakalagay naman dito, no? There is no significant difference. They are equal. Ganon din po dito kay variance, kay Levene's test, no? Ibig sabihin, si variance 1 is not significantly different kay variance 2.
Okay.
If they are not significantly different from one another, in other words, they are equal. Okay? Pero on the other hand, there is a significant difference. In other words, kapag sinabi mong may significant difference between the two, automatically, it means that they are not equal in terms of its value.
In terms of its value.
More specifically, si variance 1 is not the same kay variance 2.
Okay.
Either mas malaki si variance 2 kay variance 1 o mas malaki si variance 1 kay variance 2. Regardless, they don't have the same value or variance in this situation. Are we clear on that? Para
yes,
as we can see, yung parallel between normality test and Levene's test, pareho lang, no? Yung hypothesis ng normality test, the same kay Levene's test. So, yung kay normality, ang kino-compare mo doon, normal distribution and sample distribution. Kay variances naman, or Levene's test, ang kino-compare mo, variances ng una, variances ng pangalawa. Variance ng una, variance ng pangalawa. Are we clear?
Opo.
Okay. So, for example, sige, tingnan natin, no? Ang nakita mong p-value sa Levene's test, kasi may p-value din to. Maraming p-value yan. Kaya dapat, yung fundamental idea ng p-value, hindi kayo nalilito. Kasi, pag nalito kayo dun sa una pa lang, sa mga succeeding analysis, nakakalito talaga siya, no? Okay, tingnan natin. So, tingnan mo muna yung value, interpret kung reject or failed, to reject, and then tignan yung actual interpretation.
Ate,
Ganun po yung
mo,
process. Yun yung process ko sa isip ko eh.
ate, tanong
Nung
mo.
unang beses ako nagsisimula, no? What is the value?
Ako.
What is my alpha level? Is it larger? Is it lower? O ngayon, nakita mong lower, anong ibig sabihin nito? Reject the null. Kasi lower ka mo eh. O ngayon, kung lower, reject the null, ano ba yung null? Ano ba yung alternative? Tignan nyo lang tong variance equal, variance not equal. Ayan, ganun nyo lang siya isipin in idea, no? Tapos, magaling ba kayo sa visual spatial skills? Yung parang meron kayong imagery sa isip, no? Kasi may mga taong hindi talaga nag-excel doon. Kasi for me, that works best for me, no?
Ako po yun.
Ewan ko lang to other people. Ngayon, question, for example, your p-value na nakuha, so ano by default na tayo dito na ang alpha level natin lagi ay 0.05 ha, para hindi na tayo nalilito. By default 0.05 na lagi, kahit hindi ko nasabihin. Nakuha mo sa p-value mo is, sa homogeneity test or Levene's test, nakuha mo is 0.816. Okay, that is the p-value na lumabas sa Jamovi.
Distributed.
Ano ngayon ang interpretation mo doon? O, ngayon, tignan mo, 0.816.
Normally distributed.
Lalagay ko nga dito para hindi tayo nalilito.
Normally distributed.
Ay.
Naka-fix yata.
Ayan. Ang p-value mo ay 0.816. Ang alpha level mo ay 0.05. Ano ngayon muna ang decision mo?
Reject the null. Failed to reject the null.
Okay. Fail to reject the null. Kasi mas malaki po ang ating p-value kay alpha level. Naintindihan?
Yes po.
Okay. Ay, yung iba mag-thumbs up. Pag fail to reject the null, thumbs down. Pag reject, thumbs up. Ha? Okay. So, in this situation, you fail to reject the null. So, dapat thumbs down ngayon, no? So, it means, if you fail to reject the null, then hindi mo daw siya i-reject. Fail to reject, no? So, in other words, you will accept the null hypothesis. Okay. What is the null hypothesis? Nakita mo sa isip mo, equal yun eh. Okay. So, ibig sabihin, the variances are equal. If the variances are equal, then they are homogeneous. Okay. Ganun na siya, no?
Okay.
Other example.
Uy.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Reject.
Reject the null or fail to reject the null? Okay, reject the null. Okay. Pag ni-reject the null mo, ibig sabihin, okay. So, yung HOX na yon, reject the null daw. So, natitira yung alternative, H1. Ano ba H1? Yung may not equal, yung may ganun. O, para ka nag-iisip. Visualization nga, di ba? O, ngayon, if you reject the null, then what is your interpretation? Homogeneous or heterogeneous? Heterogeneous. Okay, maliwanag tayo dyan ha. Another example. Fail to reject or reject? Reject or fail to reject? Fail to reject. Okay. If you fail to reject, is the data homogeneous or heterogeneous? Homogeneous or heterogeneous? Okay, homogeneous. Maliwanag tayo dyan. Ako, huwag nilagay na naman ni Sir yan sa Excel. Nalilito na naman ako.
Sir, since homogeneous siya, since bakla yung data. Charot.
Homogeneous, ibig sabihin, they're just the same. No? Homo means the same. Parang ganun. Hetero kasi opposite. Kaya heterosexual. Opposite sex. Homogeneous. Linear.
Ako homosexual.
So, yun lang, ha? So, another example. Ano kaya yan? Patay, sir, sakto yan, ha? Sir, sakto yan. Paano yan? Pag sakto, fail to reject na yun. Ha?
Homogeneous siya pa rin.
Okay. So, fail to reject, ibig sabihin, homogeneous or heterogeneous? Homogeneous, heterogeneous. Homogeneous, okay.
So,
Ngayon, balik tayo kay... Ang ganda pala exercise na to eh. Dapat yata magdala kayo ng thumbs up, thumbs down sa face-to-face ah. Okay, eto tayo. Normality test. Nakita mo, ang p-value mo ay... Normality test, ang p-value ay 0.112. Reject or fail to reject? Fail to reject. Okay, kasi mas malaki siya, di ba? O ngayon, if I fail to reject the null of the normality test, is my data normal or not normal?
normal. Normal.
Okay, normal. Kasi you failed to reject the null hypothesis. Okay, maliwanag tayo dyan. Let's move on. So, let's move now to the one sample t-test and its non-parametric counterpart. So, makikita natin dito yung mga assumptions niya. Kailan kayo gagamit ng non-parametric? So, in understanding the assumptions, ganito lang siya tinitignan, no? Kahit isa lang ang ma-violate mo in assumption, automatically, you'll proceed to the non-parametric counterpart. Okay? Pero kapag lahat na meet, pag lahat na meet, automatically, parametric counterpart ka. Yung parametric natin dito in one sample t-test is the one sample t-test. That's the parametric one. By default, lagi tayong parametric, no? Tapos, upon checking the assumptions, makikita mo kung may violations or wala, automatically non-parametric ka. Naintindihan po iyon, no? Ang non-parametric counterpart ng one sample t-test is the Wilcoxon one sample sign rank test. Okay? So, nandun naman yun sa option. Ninja Movie. Ngayon, in one sample t-test, how many data sets that you have? Of course, obviously, it's t-test, pero kang dalawang mean.
May dalawang
Okay?
mean. Isa lang
Obviously, hindi ka pwedeng mag-t-test ng isa lang ang mean mo. Sir, one sample lang ka mo. Tama naman. Isa lang naman yung sample mo in one sample t-test. However, yung isang mean mo manggagaling either hypothesized or known population mean. Either ikaw yung nagbibigay or meron ng published data on that. Mean, ibig sabihin hindi ko yung nag-compare, kinuha mo lang or inisip mo lang, no? Hypothesize mo lang or galing sa ibang researchers. So, nanggaling sa iba. Ngayon, may isa kang sample. Number of group mo, isa lang. Isang beses mo lang silang susukatin. Okay? Yung nakalagay naman dyan. Each participant unit within the single group is measured only once. So, meron ka ng mineasure na isa, may isa ka daw group, mineasure mo lang sila ng isa. And then yung isa, saan manggagaling, sir? Either hypothesized or known population mean. Galing sa ibang researchers. Published by other government institutions. Published by other organizations. Like WHO, no? APA, no? So, doon ang gagaling sa kanila. Ngayon, itetest mo whether the results of the population mean is similar to your sample mean. Ilan ang sample mo ngayon? Kung meron ka ng dalawang data, isa lang ang group mo. Kasi pag dinagdagan mo yan ng isa pa, magiging 3 yung mean mo. Okay? Naintindihan yung idea ng one sample t-test?
Yes.
Pinakamadali po itong klase ng t-test. Kasi isang group lang ang meron ka, isang beses mo lang silang mineasure.
Yes.
Okay? So, titignan mo lang kung iba yung sample mean mo sa population mean mo. Either yung population mean mo, hinhypothesize mo siya or known. Pag known, ibig sabihin, pinublish siya ng other entities or external entities or external researchers. Pag hypothesize, ibig sabihin, you'll think of something. Pwede naman kasi yun, no? Now, let's look at the one sample t-test. Naintindihan ng one sample t-test, no? Isa pa. One sample t-test is used when comparing population mean and sample mean. If you're going to have a population mean, meron ka ng isang set of data. Kailangan mo na lang ng isa pa. So how many groups do you have? Isa. How many times you will measure them? Isa lang kasi isa na lang naman yung kailangan mo. So you'll conduct a one sample t-test to see whether merong pagkakaiba yung population mean kay sample mean. Are we clear on that? Okay. Thumbs up. Doon nga tayo para nakikita ko, no? Thumbs up sa clear, thumbs down sa not clear. Kasi I can explain it further. Kasi na-discuss naman natin to previously, no? Yung one sample t-test, hypothesized mean, population mean, meron akong isang sample, isang beses ko lang silang sinusukat. Kasi meron na akong population mean eh. Given na yun eh. So I only need one mean. And for me to get that, I only need one group and measure them once. Okay? Meron na akong isang set of data. Kailangan ko na lang ng isa. Now, let's move forward sa assumptions of one sample t-test. Okay. Example na to. Okay. Ang assumptions natin ng one sample t-test, tingnan natin. DV is continuous. So, maliwanag naman yung continuous DV, yung dependent variable mo ay dapat continuous in nature. Kapag ang DV mo, kunyari, ang mini-measure mong mean of gender, gender is not a continuous variable. So, you'll not go, it's not applicable in one sample t-test. Are we clear on that? So, lagi dapat, in parametric test, no, lagi pala yung isa pa na yun, apat pala yung typical na nakikita. Yung DV mo laging either interval or in ratio scale. Or in other words, your DV is continuous, numerical lagi. No, kasi we cannot analyze qualitative results. So, dapat quantitative lagi. Pangalawa, data are independent. Ibig sabihin dito, there is no relationship between the observations. Ibig sabihin, yung sample na kinuha mo is different from the sample na ginamit sa pagkuha ng population mean. Baka mamaya, kinuha mo rin yung sample doon sa pinanggalingan ng population mean. For example, kami yung naging population, no? BPSU, kinuha yung ginamit yung population, mga Pilipino. Tapos kinontak mo yung mga tao na yon, no? Kunyari, hiningi mo yung contact information, tapos kinuha mo rin sila exactly the same. Hindi po yung pwede, no? So, dapat in one sample t-test, and then wala namang gumagawa nun, no? Kaya most of the time, madaling gawin tong, emit tong assumptions too, that the sample you have is different or independent rather to the population to the sample that is used to get the population mean. Okay, maliwanag tayo doon that the data are independent. Yun lang naman ibig sabihin nun. That your sample is different from the original one. Okay? Are we clear on that? Significant outliers, ang ibig sabihin po nito is that, mamaya may ipapakita ko sa inyong plot. Ang outlier, di ba, if we can still remember, when we call a data an outlier, if they are deviated from the rest of the scores. Ibig sabihin, naiiba sila. No? Either sobrang taas or sobrang baba. They are outliers. No? Iba sila sa typical. Wala sila dun sa 99 point or sa 68.30, ilan ba? 30, 28, 62.28%, no? Deviated sila doon. So, makikita nyo yun mamaya. Madali lang tignan yung outlier. Sa QQ plot lang tayo gagamit niyan. Later on, I will show you the QQ plot and how to interpret outliers. May mga tuldok-tuldok lang doon, no? Na titignan nyo, malayo tong tuldok na to sa iba, significant outlier po iyon, no? And lastly, normally distributed. So, these are the 4 assumptions ng one sample t-test. Una, continuous yung DV. Your sample is unique, data are independent from the original one, walang significant outlier, and lastly, normally distributed ang data. Now, let's look at the example. Number 1 of one sample t-test. A company produces batteries for electronic devices and claims that the average battery life is 25 hours. So, may isang company battery daw na nagki-claim na yung ginagawa nilang battery ay naglalast for 25 hours. To test this claim, a sample of 25 batteries is selected at random and their battery life in hours is recorded. Ngayon, kumuha daw ng random battery from the company, 25 batteries, kinuha randomly.
Oh, fucking shit.